Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones were the targets of Paul McCartney's recent verbal assault, which was a street battle. Paul McCartney, the former member of the Beatles, brought to light the age-old dispute of which of the music artists from the United Kingdom were exceptional. McCartney suggested that he and his comrades worked with a more expansive musical palette while meeting with editor David Remnick to discuss the development and evolution of the Beatles. They are a blues cover band, which is a good way to describe the Stones, Paul. I'm not sure whether I should say it, but they are. In the late 1960s, just before the Beatles broke up, the Rolling Stones proclaimed themselves to be the world's greatest rock and roll band. This is despite the fact that the majority of people agreed that the Beatles were the most successful rock band of all time. I Wanna Be Your Man, which was written by John Lennon and Paul McCartney, was one of the songs that the Stones initially covered. Other songs that they covered were It's All Over Now, which was written by Bobby Womack and Shirley Womack, who was Bobby Womack's sister-in-law to Shirley Womack. In 1965, however, Mick Jagger and Keithrichards were responsible for creating the majority of the Stones' work, which included songs such as The Last Time and I Can't Get No Satisfaction. Over the course of several decades, the Beatles and the Stones frequently engage in a cordial exchange of ideas and opinions. They are not in the same class, music-wise or power-wise, never were, John Lennon stated in an interview by Rolling Stone in the year 1970. Even a year ago, Jagger and McCartney engaged in a heated argument. This occurred when McCartney made the following statement to Howard Stern: "There are a lot of differences, and I love the Stones, but I'm with you. It was the Beatles who were superior." After hearing that, Jagger responded by saying, "That is so funny. He is a genuine sweetheart. It is very clear that there is no competition." But he continued by stating that there was a distinction between the bands in an episode of The Zane Lowe Show that was broadcast on Apple Music. According to him, the Rolling Stones is a big concert band in other decades and other areas, when the Beatles never even did an arena tour, Madison Square Garden with a decent sound system, he said. The Rolling Stones are a big concert band in other areas. The most significant distinction between these two bands is that they are not related. Despite the fact that one band is still performing in stadiums, the other band does not exist. This is an exceptionally fortunate situation. Ahead of the premiere of The Beatles' Get Back, a documentary series directed by Peter Jackson, and the publication of McCartney's book The Lyrics, 1956 to the Present, which gathers the lyrics of 154 of his songs, including Eleanor Rigby and Band on the Run, this fresh criticism from Sir Paul comes as a surprise. In addition, McCartney had some words to say to Lennon during the lengthy interview that was published in The New Yorker. Lennon's allegations that the cameras recording Let It Be were set up to emphasize Paul McCartney and that the other Beatles got fed up with being sidemen for Paul McCartney were brought up as a topic of discussion. The time of the breakup was also on the agenda.